I want to know how you prepare for a golf tournament.
Well, I hit balls maybe 20 minutes, putt a little bit, smoke 4 or 5 cigarettes, drink 3 Diet Cokes, and go to the first tee. Some days I won't even go to the range.
Welcome in, episode 155 of the Daily Puck Drop, hashtag DPD here on a Thursday. We appreciate you watching and listening. And as always, hit that like and subscribe button. Leave comments wherever you are taking in this wonderful edition of the Daily Puck Drop, hashtag DPD here on a Thursday. We'll talk about the M's. We've got a Luke Rayleigh appreciation post that we've got to talk about. The Seahawks are done for their summer break, at least until they get back there to training camp. Ana Mari Cauce has stepped down. We'll touch on that one. Tom Brady had something pretty damn cool to say at his Hall of Fame induction yesterday. Some sad news for college football fans, especially for Cougar fans, we'll touch on. And then, hey, what the puck? A story of a second-grade teacher apparently being drunk at school, and then, like, nothing can really happen to her, and she's okay. Like, you can't arrest her. We've got a Little League end of the season party to talk about, and then a question, especially for you, the people that wear suits that we're going to get to at the very end. But let's start with the Mariners. They survive again, 2-1. Somehow, some way, they keep doing it. They're 40-30 on the season, 6.5 games up now on Texas, and they just keep winning. They keep winning in dramatic fashion. It shouldn't be this hard, especially against a team like the Chicago White Sox. But boy, do they have made it hard in the last few nights against these guys. But they keep on winning, and it really, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Just keep winning games. They look like they're Thunderbird drunk out there in terms of how they're winning these games. But at the end of the day, they're just winning. And that's ultimately what matters right now for these guys. They survive. They have extended their lead against the Rangers. Of course, the Rangers are coming into town here soon. You had just one of the greatest at-bats during that game last night there for Mitch Haniger. He gets down. He pitch hits, by the way. He comes in. He's down 0-2. He ends up fouling off 3 straight pitches. Then he takes 2 balls. Then he fouls off another one. And then he gets that blooper to right field. 9-pitch AB, an absolute clinical at-bat there for Mitch Haniger. His 6th walk-off RBI there for the Mariners. That ties him, by the way, with the great, anyone? Jose Lopez and Russ Davis for second most in franchise history. Can anyone guess, and I'll pause dramatically for 3 seconds, can anyone guess who is number 1 in Mariners team history with a walk-off RBIs? That's right. Former third baseman Jim Presley. How about Jim Presley? Like, of all the guys that I would guess before seeing that in the Mariners team notes, I don't know when I would have come to the conclusion, or at least come to the thought that it could possibly be the great Jim Presley. But it indeed is Jim Presley. Now, not only did they win yesterday, but it's another cover on the Bet M's Under Summer Tour continues. So they covered last night, taking the under. So now we're 19, 20, and 2 there on the season for the under. The total tonight is 6.5. Luis Castillo gets the ball against Garrett Crochet. Garrett Crochet is one of the best young left-handers in this sport, and a guy that likely is going to be traded here pretty soon by the White Sox. 6'6", 245 pounds, ERA of 3.33. He's got a four-seam. He's got a cutter. He's a little bit of a change-up guy. Again, one of the top trade pieces in baseball that will be available July 30th. Should be a pitching matchup again tonight with Crochet, with Luis Castillo, so you know what to do. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, download it, and bet. The under of the total tonight is 6.5. The Bet M's Under Summer Tour continues. Castillo there against Crochet. Great news. Oh, before we get to the news there on Bryan Wood. Luis Robert, say this, he proved that he can hit in this series. Okay, he can hit home runs. So if the Mariners want to go out and acquire Luis Robert Jr., yeah, get it done. Here's a guy, I know the weather's a little bit better and all that, but here's a guy that has no issue hitting the ball out of this ballpark. And there's been a lot of guys that have come here or have played here that have issues hitting in that park, don't like it. Luis Robert Jr. doesn't appear to be one of those guys. Hitting at T-Mobile seems to be treating him quite fine with the 2 home runs in the series. So, again, we said it yesterday. They got one final game. There's no reason he has to leave. I know it's June 13th, and we are still, 5-6 weeks away from the deadline. But again, you can make a trade now if you want to, Seattle. They're done. I mean, they're completely toast, are the White Sox. There's no coming back. They're going to trade the entire team. So, hell, pull the trade off now, switch uniforms before the game. Let's get Luis Robert Jr. in an M's uniform before they leave town. Okay, so the great news yesterday coming from Justin Hollander, Mariners GM, before the game on Bryan Wood. MRI was clean. Thank God. He could return to the rotation coming up next week. So that is great news there for Bryan Wood. I'll be honest with you. Hold on. We got to play it. Anytime we talk about Bryan Wood, we got to play it. I was trying to be glass half full with him, but I was the back of my head was, glass half empty. It's going to come back. It's going to be more severe than they're letting on. This is going to be like another situation with Matt Brash, and we're going to keep delaying it. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, we're shutting him down for the season, and he's having season-ending surgery. Now, Divish, you're watching and you're listening. You're going to hate me what I'm about to say because we didn't talk about this yesterday, by the way. Dramatic pause, listener, as I take a sip of my morning coffee. He is destined for the bullpen. And honestly, the bullpen should be Bryan Wood's future. It just should be. He doesn't have enough innings on that arm, and he's dealing with these issues all the time. He dealt with this in college at Cal Poly, where he didn't pitch a ton. Remember, he was a two-way player there. I played a bunch of positions at Cal Poly. He didn't pitch all that much. He only pitched 69 innings in college. Never once did he pitch over 28 innings. He didn't pitch that much in the minors, 112 innings in 3 seasons. Had Tommy John surgery in 2021. The Mariners still end up drafting him in the 6th round. Misses all of 2022. He has 2 pitches. That's all he throws. I know he throws the changeup now to left-handers. He mixes that in a little bit. But he's a fastball sinker pitcher that can throw a changeup as well. And he throws hard. And he's really damn good. And I get wanting to keep him as a starter. And they're going to keep him as a starter. But I'm saying right now, he is destined long-term for the bullpen because he can't stay healthy. He just can't. Think about his career so far. IL stint in year 1. Late start to the season here in year 2. Now he's going to miss, couple start, 1 start, 2 starts, whenever he comes back. It's not to say that I hope he remains a starter because Bryan Wood is amazing. But do you think what's the innings on Bryan Wood as a starter? I mean, what do you think he's going to pitch? 150 innings? I just, as a starter, he's never going to sniff that. Like ever. And so I think ultimately, whether they're not going to do it this year, but if they do it next season, think about if they get in the playoffs. I mean, he's not going to be a starter in the playoffs. He's coming out of the bullpen. His role for him, and it's based primarily just on his injury history with that elbow and arm. And again, it's no guarantee if he goes into the bullpen because you're going to say, well, Matt Brash got hurt and he went in the bullpen. Yeah, it is no guarantee. But he goes out there and, how many innings a year are you going to get out of this guy? I mean, is he ever going to get to 100 innings ever? And I know his career is young and all that. But again, he's never pitched a ton, ever. Ever, ever, ever. So they have a great system in which they acquire starters, in which they draft starters. I just think, I'm not saying you got to do it now. I'm not saying you immediately say Bryan Wood, when he comes back, is in the bullpen. That's not what I'm saying, just to be clear. So Divish, don't text me and yell at me. I'm just saying that eventually Bryan Wood is going to go into the bullpen because Bryan Wood has to be in the bullpen because he cannot rely on him throughout an entire season to be a starter. Just can't. And he's got 2 pitches. And it's perfect for a bullpen guy. And you put him in there at the end of your bullpen, you'll see how effective he is if they get in the playoffs. Well, they'll get in. And they use him out of it. Just wait till you see how damaging he's going to be coming into, 7th inning of a game, just throwing darts because he can cut it loose because he doesn't have to pitch another inning. Maybe he pitches 2. He'll be a hell of a weapon coming out of your bullpen. So, but it is good news on Bryan Wood. MRI clean, could return next week. Are we worried about Munoz? Listener, I just raised my hand. I am. I mean, he got an MRI on his back. That doesn't necessarily scare me. What scares me is what they said after the MRI, that he's had an injection in his back to relieve the pain. And you're going to say, well, maybe he's already had that multiple times. You don't. I don't care what sport you're in. You start having lower back issues or back issues in general. Yeah, it just feels sometimes that those things don't end well. Those don't end well. So I am worried about Andres Munoz and what's going on with him. Worried that they had to get. Remember, they haven't really used him since the collision. Used him once, and that's it. So it's still bothering him. It's still aggravated from that play at home. And then they had to get another MRI or an MRI again, and then that injection to relieve the pain. Cross our fingers. They don't need any more damage in that bullpen, man. They need Gregory Santos back in a big way, and they need to ramp up Logan Evans as fast as they can to get him in that bullpen. They do. They need to ramp up that process. And again, the deadline is July 30th. How about Kopech of the White Sox? Get him. Just somebody. They need more bullpen help. Stat. Polanco, the update on him is going to run the bases coming up soon. And if all goes well, they'll put him out on a rehab assignment. I still love what I see out of Ryan Bliss. Kind of want to see Ryan Bliss play more and more and more. Ty France, good news on him. Likely coming off the IL on June 17th. And so it'll be good to get Ty France back. I said this yesterday, and we're gonna fulfill it today. But this is our Luke Rayleigh appreciation post. We've talked about all the offseason acquisitions, and we've rightfully have banged on them for what they did. Mitch Garver hasn't been good. Polanco hasn't been good. Urias obviously not good. Mitch Haniger, despite the game when he hit last night, has been up and down. Hasn't been healthy. Really just had that great stretch in the beginning of the season. But who has been great is Luke Rayleigh. And that was a damn good pickup and a damn good trade. I think a lot of people at first didn't quite understand it, myself included. You got rid of, Kelnick, and that was the salary dump with the whole Marco and all that kind of stuff, and Evan White. And you're like, well, God, so you're getting Luke Rayleigh, who's essentially Jared Kelnick. Say this, he's been better than Jared Kelnick on a lot of different levels. I mean, the numbers prove it out that he's been better, but I just think the energy and the vibe he brings is a lot better than Jared Kelnick. Just a lot better. I mean, Jared, when things are going great, Jared is awesome. When he's not going great, he, you know it. And I think that can wear on teammates. Luke Rayleigh just has an infectious personality. Like, he's exactly the type of guy you want in your clubhouse. Because even when things aren't going well for him, you don't see it on him, right? He doesn't show it. And that's what I really love about this guy, man. He plays hard. And I know this is a cliche because we say it in sports all the time, and everyone's like, well, what does that mean? I think you know what it means, but he just plays the game the right way. He plays it the right way. And 264 batting average. He's slugging 444. He's got an OPS of 752. He's hit 7 home runs. He's driven in 18. Remember, he didn't play forever. All those numbers are better than Kelnick this year. He still strikes out a ton, 30%, just like Jared Kelnick. But Luke Rayleigh, man, and good for that front office to pull off that trade there with Caballero. And Caballero was good in the beginning of the season. Luke Rayleigh wasn't playing, but more and more playing time for Luke Rayleigh. No one can bump better on the team than him. He's a good defensive player. He's fast as hell. He will be. Luke Rayleigh, when they get into the postseason, is going to be so goddamn deadly in the postseason because, A, his ability to put down a bunt, his ability to run, defensive replacement, jack of all trades, but his speed in the postseason is going to win them multiple games. Multiple games. Again, most everyone scoring from second base last night on that hit from Haniger. It's just how fast he scored. When that right fielder got the ball, and there's the video shot of it. If you go back and look at the replays, the video replays of it, there's a shot from the third base side. When that right fielder gets the ball, you just look where Rayleigh is. He's just like halfway down the third base line. I think even more. I've never seen someone that big move that fast. And I want to see him and Julio. They should do this. Hopefully no one would get injured. Pre-game one time, some type of sprint race between those two. I want to see who's faster, Rayleigh or Julio Rodriguez. All right, moving on. College athletics, good riddance. Ana Mari Cauce steps down, the UW president. We didn't have this. I guess we had this here at pucksports.com. But John Canzano had this months ago, said she's stepping down. Became official today, so credit to John on that one. JohnCanzano.com. He's got a write-up on it that he posted yesterday. But again, not new news because John had it like 2 months ago about she was going to step down, that he had on good authority that she was going to announce that she was leaving. She has. What is her legacy? Well, legacy will be different how you look at her. From an academic standpoint, her legacy will be different. From a sports standpoint, and Washington fans can answer this however they want. I don't know how they look at her. I look at her as she was the final nail in the coffin that ruined the Pac-12. She was. She put the last pile of dirt on the conference. And anyone that wants to argue against that is just foolish, because you know it's true. And don't give me you would have done the same thing routine. She sealed the fate of the conference. She did. She absolutely did. And everyone knows that. If she didn't go the way that she did, what are we talking about right now? Are we talking about the survival of the conference? Clearly, I've got skin in the game because I want the Cougars to be, a part of, a relevant conference, in which they aren't right now. So I get it. But before you say, well, you're just bitter and angry, and yeah, all of that, probably, for sure, 100%. I freely admit that. But the grass is not always greener on the other side. And I'm telling you, as more and more details come about their move to the Big Ten and how much money they're going to owe, let's wait 5 years from now and let's reevaluate whether this was the right move for these schools to leave and not take the Apple deal. Let's wait and see, because we can't truthfully and honestly answer that right now. But I think what you can say is, you can't say without a shadow of a doubt and 100% certainty that what she did was the right move for that school. They are in massive debt, and it's going to grow because of all the things that they've got to do with their arrival in the Big Ten, like other schools are going to have to do. Not Oregon, because Oregon's, sufficient because of, Phil Knight. Christian Capel who does a great job covering the Huskies for onmontlake.com, did a terrific breakdown of looking at the budget and everything that's surrounding the athletic department right now, and Pat Chun. And good luck, Trader Pat. Have fun with that. Cash flow deficit, $30 million. Next week, the school is going to ask for loans from the Big Ten, Fox, and the university because of the deficits that they have, not only the budget-wise for the athletic department, but also the debt that's owed on the football stadium. UW also, that came out of their agreement to move to the Big Ten, has to build an on-campus production studio. $24 million. Campus, again, in a deficit, has got to absorb $18 million of that. So on her watch, you can say, well, there's a success because she was the president that hired Kalen DeBoer. They go to a national championship. Yeah, she's also the president that lost him, lost two athletic directors, is on a brand new basketball coach. I mean, but that's for Washington fans. I don't know how Washington fans view her. I think that I view her as someone had the ability, had the power to look into the future and try to save something that has been around for 100 plus years And she decided, despite knowing what USC and UCLA already did, she had the power to try and save it, and she didn't. And that will be, for me, her legacy forever. Will be Ana Mari Cauce's legacy. I think she just did, from a sports perspective, an absolute dud of a president. Seahawks summer break starts. Mike McDonald canceled their last practice yesterday. Not only good for the players, but good for the media that's out there. Highlights from their 11-on-11 yesterday. It sounds like the defense just dominated the 11-on-11s. I like the fact that he puts the ones against each other. Now, maybe Pete Carroll did that. And if he did, I'll take back all the praise here from McDonald. But I don't, for me, I always kind of think that he didn't pit the ones against each other a bunch. Maybe I'm wrong. Most likely I am. But I like that McDonald puts the ones a lot against each other. That's cool. I think it breeds just a massive amount of competitive fire between those two groups. The highlight yesterday was that the defense just dominated. I think they had 5 picks, almost 6 picks in that 11-on-11 drills. Sam Howell, bad news, interceptions still happening for Sam Howell because he threw 3 of them. He threw 3 of them in that 11-on-11 yesterday. The one thing that, and McDonald talked about it, that I'm excited about as well with this defense is the play of their secondary, and especially their cornerbacks. I think it's a real chance, both have played in the Pro Bowl, real chance that Witherspoon and Woolen, you're talking about a great, fun, potentially dominant 1-2 punch there for their secondary. And it'll be young, aggressive, long, in your face, all of it. I think it's going to be great. It'd be great to kind of watch that. But they're off until, and they'll be back there on training camp. Tom Brady was inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame yesterday. They're going to say, well, why the hell are you talking about that? First of all, he's had a lot of face work done, has Tom Brady. I mean, a lot. To the point where it's too much for Brady. No, I want to play something that he said yesterday, because I think for every parent out there who may be on the fence of letting their kid play football. My son just started his first year of tackle football last year when he was 10. So if there's any or 9 years old, I guess, when they started, if there's anyone that is on the fence about it, I don't think there's a sport out there that is as hard. I mean, maybe hockey would compare, but I would say why football is harder is kind of what Brady touches on. I don't think that there's a sport more difficult than football. And I think both physically and mentally and socially, it brings so many different backgrounds together, and you all have to be as one. And you start practice in the summer, and it's 100 degrees outside, and you've got full pads on, and then it extends all the way into the fall. And then when you're wrapping up practice, you're outside, and it's pouring rain, and it's under 40 degrees, and it's miserable. It taxes you like no other sport does. Now, I know someone's going to say hockey. You're inside all the time. You're on the ice. You're not outside. Nothing taxes you like the sport of football. I thought what Brady said in his Hall of Fame speech yesterday should be played for every parent that is on the fence for their kids playing football.
Everyone to play football for the simple reason that it is hard. It's hard when you're young to wake up in the off season at 6 a.m. to go train and work out, knowing that all your friends are sleeping in and eating pancakes. It's hard when you're on your way to practice, way down with all your gear, and it's 90 degrees out and all the other kids are at the pool or at the beach, and your body is already completely exhausted from workouts in 2-a-days. It's hard to throw, catch, block, and tackle, and hit kids when they're way bigger and way more developed than you, only to go home that night bruised and battered and strained, but knowing you have to show up again the next day for just the chance to try again. But understand this, life is hard.
I just thought it was a great message there for Brady. It's a hard sport. I'm going to play for my son. I think everybody that's, again, mom, dad on the fence about their kids playing football, I think it's just it is hard, and it is kind of a microcosm of life because life is hard. And I just thought that was really cool what he said, because there is nothing like that sport. And I think if a kid can get through that, I say this to our kids that we coach in baseball and basketball when they complain about practice. I said, or even complain about football. I said, if you can get through a football practice and get through a football season, all these other practices are so damn easy. Baseball practice is fun. You're hitting, you're outside, it's sunny, you run around a little bit, but you're playing catch. Basketball, kind of the same thing. I mean, you're indoors. The weather is usually crappy wherever you're at, and you're shooting hoops and having fun. Well, everything he said there is 100% right about football. I mean, it's damn hard. Some sad news coming out of the college athletic world. Long time voice of the Cougs, Matt Chazenow, who took over for the great Bob Robertson and had to fill some pretty damn big shoes with Bob Rob. Chaz has been with Cougar Athletics for, God, forever, right? I mean, for a damn long time, and has done a great job of calling games for football and basketball, and being a great ambassador and truly a Coug and all of those things. And he's a great broadcaster with a great set of pipes, does a great job of calling games. He's a great dude as well, if you've ever got to know him or meet him. But Matt Chazenow is leaving WSU. He is now the new voice of the NC State Wolfpack. So to Chaz, never an easy assignment to take over for somebody like Bob Robertson. And it probably was nerve-wracking in the beginning, and especially when he was doing the games and Bob Rob was still there, because they were trying to kind of marry the two and at least keep Bob Rob, part of the broadcast, which I thought was cool. But I can only imagine, having sat in, those broadcasting shoes before, obviously at a much smaller scale. When you're sitting next to the guy that's been the voice for, 20 plus years and is beloved, and you're replacing him, that's got to be intimidating. He handled it with extreme class. He always included Bob Rob into the conversation. He set him up perfectly. Most importantly, what Chaz did, because, Bob was getting older, he protected him. And there are people in this industry that don't do that don't protect those people, that will call them out, correct them on the air. I mean, it happened to Bob Robertson with someone that used to work on that team. And it's embarrassing. And it's not right. And Chaz never did it. And he always protected him. For that, it will always be a Coug, Will Chaz. Good luck with the Wolfpack, and forever to Matt Chazenow. Go Cougs. Hey, what the puck? We'll finish it up with this. So there's a second grade teacher apparently that has been arrested in California, okay, because she came to school drunk. But apparently, and she taught while she was drinking, or what, she was drunk. They think that she was also drinking while at school. Okay. She was arrested for it. Her name is Wendy Munson. She was arrested for teaching students at an elementary school in Sacramento, California. She's no longer teaching. However, they can't press charges against her, according to the district attorney, Jennifer Dupree, who you're going to hear here in an interview and a TV piece with CBS Channel 13 in Sacramento, because technically, you can't make this up, it's not illegal to teach while being drunk.
It is not illegal to teach drunk.
The shocking discovery after a months-long investigation into Sutter County second grade teacher Wendy Munson, who was arrested last October for driving drunk and child endangerment.
There was the possibility that she drank after she arrived at the school.
That's why District Attorney Jennifer Dupree couldn't file any charges, even though investigators say the teacher was on the job with the blood alcohol content level 2 times the legal limit.
You don't
With
say.
any job, if you show up to work intoxicated, it's a fireable offense, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would
certainly
imagine.
don't support anyone teaching children drunk, but I can't charge them criminally. And we couldn't prove that her intoxication would endanger them. So we tried, because I don't like the conduct. It's not acceptable. But unfortunately, it was not criminal.
Oh, God. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine being a parent in Sacramento and they can't criminally charge her for coming to work shit-faced and teaching their second grade students? What a country. What a time to be alive. And I can see some parents right now, or excuse me, some teachers right now watching and listening or seeing that story going, all right, it's time to start pouring a little bit of Jameson in that coffee mug and get a little bit more get a little bit more hammered on the job, I can't be criminally charged. What a story. Channel 13 CBS in Sacramento. Second grade teacher coming blacked out to school teaching, and they can't criminally charge her. Wow, man, that is a wild story. Little League, Ballard, Fisher Plumbing Little League season officially came to an end yesterday. We had our end of the season party yesterday. Fantastic. The parents, they got together and they got all these small, like individual plungers, because of course we had the big golden plunger that we had every time we scored a run. We'd put that on kids' heads. They all made, or the parents made and bought all these individual golden plungers, painted them up, and then handed them out with their number and the kids' names on it. Awesome. We had a great time. It was a long, fun season. Shout out to Fisher Plumbing for supporting our Little League team. Get out there. You ever want to volunteer for your local Little League organization, please do so. It's the best, especially they need umpires. Every one of these leagues needs umpires, need help. They need people to volunteer with fields and schedules and all that stuff. It's work, but it's fun. So if you've ever wanted to get into it, like coaching or volunteering in any way, I would highly, highly encourage you to do so, because you know what? I got one more year of it, and that's it. And I'm going to miss it. I got one more year of Little League, and then it's going to be over, and I'm going to miss it dearly, because it's been a huge part of our family's life. Lastly is this. I saw a picture of Adam Schefter, and we're going to talk to Mike Garofolo on his episode about it today too. But I want people to leave comments below. I want people to leave comments on YouTube, and then hit me up there on the website at pucksports.com. And you can tweet at me as well if you want, Puck2040 there on Twitter. Sneakers with suits. I saw a picture of Adam Schefter. Sneakers with a suit. Yay or nay? Yay or nay on that? I think if you're going to get a suit, let's be adults here and be professional. Wear some goddamn dress shoes. Knock it off with the sneakers. Okay? Knock it off. Just wear some dress shoes. I know the sneakers are comfortable, but how about you? There's got to be someone out there that wears a suit to work every day or every other day. Do you wear sneakers with that suit? All right, that's it. Hey, what the puck? We do that at the end of the show every single day here on the Daily Puck Drop. Use the hashtag DPD. Coming up today, it's Thursday, so you're going to hear from Mike Garofolo and Rob Staten. Both those episodes coming out a little bit later. And so we'll try to release them before 1 o'clock. I've heard from a lot of people that want those episodes released before 1. I usually release them at 1, but if we get them done sooner than that, we'll put them out right away. All right, that's it for us. We'll talk to you tomorrow on a Friday. Until then, as always, we promise to be better.
No shirt, no shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!